And here we go.
Today on the Campfire Conversationalist Podcast, we're going to talk about Scott Peterson.
Okay, so on this episode of the Campfire Conversationalist Podcast, take two, because a certain meetings program sucks and stopped recording before. We're going to talk.
Name any names.
We're not going to name any names.
Hey, do you want to hang out later?
Yeah, let's hang out later. Even though I'm in Wisconsin and you're in Michigan, we can still hang out somehow. Just saying.
We just have to find a new hangout.
Right. Okay, so on this episode, we're going to talk about Scotty Peterson, and this is going to be a little bit different. The idea for this episode is instead of doing research before the show, which sometimes we kind of do a little bit, we intentionally did no research on this episode. For this episode, it's going to be kind of a two-parter for us. I'll probably make it one episode for the show, but the idea is we're going to kind of go over what we remember from the Scotty Peterson trial and case, and then talk about what we kind of remember, and then we're going to research it, and then we're going to come back and do discuss what we got wrong, what we got right, what we don't remember at all, and kind of see how that plays out. I think that'd be kind of interesting. So what I remember from the Scotty Peterson case or trial, I don't remember what year it was. I know it was probably the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s, I think. Mm-hmm. And I remember that he was found guilty of killing his wife, and she was pregnant at the time. And it was all over the news. From what I can remember, it was on the news for months and months and months and months. And to this day, I still don't really know why, because lots of people go missing and or end up having been murdered, by their spouses, and most of it probably never makes the news, let alone is the only thing on the news for months and months and months at a time, all the way through to the end of the trial. Do you remember John, the DC sniper? Yeah. Okay, so that's worthy of being in the news all the time. Probably
he's a serial killer.
Yeah, because he was a serial killer, and there was it was ongoing. Literally. As it was happening, it would be in the news. Somebody else got shot by the DC sniper,
and everyone was panic stricken. Yep. It was true terrorism,
right? But this, on the other hand, in my opinion, wasn't like that. It was just some dude who was alleged to have killed his wife. And
was he a celebrity or?
I don't know. I don't remember having ever heard of him before.
Celebrities make it all the time.
Right.
Like if there's a crime involving a celebrity, then you can almost guarantee it's going to be on the news. No matter what it is.
Right. Well, maybe depending on how profile they are. Because that stuff does get covered up a lot too. I think. I think if they want. I think if they, whoever they is, if they want it to be in the news all the time to burn a person, then it will be. But I mean, how many celebrities do we know of that were accused or suspected of having maybe killed their spouses, and you barely ever heard of it? Like, I think William Shatner was one of them. Jim Carrey's another who, they've had spousal deaths in the house. Like, they just, shot in the head 25 times. No, that's an exaggeration, but you get the idea, I mean, how many times can a woman accidentally shoot themselves in the head 25 times before it starts becoming suspicious that the spouse might have done it, I don't know, right. Just saying. But, yeah, so I don't remember having ever heard of Scotty Peterson before the whole thing was in the news at the time. And what I remember that at first in the news, I mean, obviously they thought he might be a suspect, but I mean, it wasn't like Scotty Peterson did it. It was like, the media was leaning towards Scott Peterson was potentially a suspect, and then eventually the police made him a suspect, and then eventually he was arrested, and then eventually he went to trial and then lost. But why I think this is interesting and why I want to look back on it is because back then I was pretty young and naive, and if it was researching stuff on the internet probably would have been a little bit harder back then as well, but I guess I didn't have any reason to not think that Scotty Peterson did it, but now I kind of do. But I think that I probably process information that's on TV and stuff completely different now than I did back then. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I now am wondering if Scotty Peterson was even guilty at all is because, and again, I haven't looked at any of this. I haven't looked into any of this at all. I'm going totally off of memory right now. Is because, from what I remember, is that he was found guilty of murder. I don't remember what degree, but there was no body, there was no motive, there was no cause of death, and there was no weapon. So how do you find someone guilty of murder with no body, no weapon, no motive, and no cause of death? That's insane to me, that you can be found guilty of murder with like none of the things that you have to find someone guilty of murder. Right. So that's why I was kind of wanting to look back on this again and see if, wow, maybe he's not guilty, or maybe he is. I don't know. And again, why was it in the news cycle for so long? Like I said, people end up murdered all the time, and it barely makes the news or doesn't make the news. But this was just plastered all over the news nonstop for however many months, all the way through the end of the trial until he was thrown into prison.
I'm gonna start. I don't remember very much, if anything, about this. I kind of remember a boat being involved. I kind of remember a lot of blood being found on the boat. I don't remember very much at all, but I do have a hypothesis as to why it was all over the media. Okay. My guess, my hypothesis, is that because she was pregnant, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anytime there's a crime with the child, it gains national media, because children go on the media. So even an unborn child in this case is more of a interesting story, I guess, in the media's eyes than you get what I'm saying?
That could be.
So if you throw in a child like that is abducted, they're missing, it's going to gain national headlines because they want to know where the child is. Likewise, you throw in, like you said, like some random prostitute or just some random lady. They're not going to gain the headlines.
No,
because there's no child involved.
Right, and that definitely could be one thing. Now the conspiratorial. Wait, how do you say the word now? Conspiratorial part of my mind is going, okay, when something like this is in the news and it's nonstop, a lot of times it's to misdirect. Saying like, hey, look what's over here, while somebody else is doing something over here. And like I said, since I don't remember what year this was, right off the top of my head, I'm wondering what things were going on in the political world at the time,
like
when this
national
was
headlines.
Yes, like what was being maybe covered up or why was our attention being drawn to this?
What
was
laws
it for
were
a reason?
being passed at that time?
Right. Yes. And since obviously that's just an idea I have. I can't prove that because, like I said, I don't even remember what year this whole Scotty Peterson thing happened. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if he didn't do it, and it was all a distraction of some kind. But I could be totally wrong. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't really remember the case. I don't know the person.
Yeah, me neither.
Like you said, I don't know the motive. I don't know the non-motive. There's not a whole lot to go on. I mean, what kind of person was he? That'll tell you right there.
I don't. I remember them kind of portraying him as some kind of maybe a little bit wealthy, maybe not like mega millionaire status, but I remember kind of getting the impression that he was maybe a little better off than most people. So like upper class or upper middle class or something like that, maybe.
Was he violent? Did he have a violent past?
I don't remember. I'm sure if we look back on it, we'll probably find that those 911 calls for, domestic violence, possibly. Because it seems like a lot of times when you look into stuff like this, that always seems to be what happens. So if
he did kill her, okay. In theory, if you kill someone with a gun, there's a difference between killing someone with a gun and, say, strangulation. Okay? Strangulation is like a really intense, like... personal kind of killing, because you're there looking at the person the entire time. So you're fixated on what you're seeing. So the level of rage that you would have to have in that circumstance would override your natural brain. Does that make sense?
Look at me. I like to watch the lights go out.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, how about a bludgeoning or a stabbing?
Yeah, a lot of times they say that those are like crimes of passion.
Yeah, they're like extremely violent, but at the same time, they're really connected to the person.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, they're crime of passion. So it could be like, I don't know though. There's a difference even between stabbing someone or shooting someone once and shooting them, unloading the magazine, reloading a magazine, and then shooting them again.
Rinse, wash, repeat.
Exactly. Like a crime of passion is like you are so upset and maybe you fire like 3 or 4 rounds. The person falls on the ground, they're dead. Now take it to an extreme. You unload a magazine, you reload a magazine, you unload that magazine. There's a significant difference between all of those factors. Without anything, but with just, is there blood on the boat? That's my number one thing. I want to know, is there blood on the boat? How did the blood get there? If I was an investigator, these are the things I would be saying. Is it his boat? Is there blood on the boat? Is it her blood? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because if you can find traces of blood, then, and it's a significant amount, then you probably know that person's dead. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because, that's a good point. So you could
justify putting someone for 3rd degree murder.
Right.
Or something like, what are the degrees of murder?
Well,
first
degree is with like you planned it out.
Yeah.
Pre-intention.
There was pre-thought, there was pre-planning.
Yeah.
What is second degree?
Second degree is when like you intend to kill the person, but it's like on the spot, like 2 dudes at
in
a
the
bar.
heat of the moment.
In the heat of the moment, exactly. That's exactly it. And then 3rd degree is also, it's the same thing as manslaughter. It might be different from state to state. I don't know.
It's like an accident.
Yeah,
like you didn't mean to kill the person,
right,
but
it was
died.
an accident. Yes, that's manslaughter.
Okay. So
but, to me, manslaughter sounds so much worse than even 1st degree murder, just because of the word slaughter. But it's like the least offensive one. I never understood that when I was younger. I'm like, manslaughter, like slaughtered him. And he's getting a slap on the wrist?
Shouldn't it be like man killed or woman killed?
Man bumped him off. He just got bumped off by accident.
Well, like hitting someone that's riding their bike with your car. They run out in front of you.
Well,
you hit them with your car. Yeah, unless you pre-planned it. You're driving down the road and you're like, that mother effer. Kaboom, like 30 degrees to the right and their life is over.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Anything like that is like any kind of accidents.
That's totally accident.
Yeah.
That's manslaughter. But how about a serious amount of blood on your boat out in the middle of...
Well, you can still have accidentally kill somebody and then try to cover it up. But then there would be additional charges for like dismemberment of a body and that kind of stuff.
Covering up.
Right,
what is it? It's like covering up a crime scene or something like that.
Right.
Or attempted.
Yeah, I don't remember all the different things they can charge you with. And again, that's going to be probably different from state to state. But do you remember that dude? Oh, I can't remember his name, but he lived in like Macomb County, and maybe 15 years ago or less, he killed his wife and then like cut her body up and then hit it in one of the I don't remember if it was a metro park or if it was a state park. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, I can't remember that guy's name. But yeah, that guy got charged with like dismemberment of a body and a bunch of other stuff because he didn't just like pre-plan it out, kill his wife, and then go hide the body, but he also cut it up and basically Dextered his wife.
Dextered.
And yeah. And then put her body parts in like a metro park, or for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, metro
got those 5 mil thick garbage bags, not the cheapo contractor level.
Yeah. But for those of you who don't know what a metro park is, that's like I don't know if they're owned by the county, but
it's like a county.
Yeah. So in the Detroit area, there's like it's equivalent to a state park or a national park, but it's like owned by the counties in the Detroit area, and they're called metro parks, and they're big plots of land that are
giant,
naturistic. Not camping, but picnics, hiking, fishing.
Belle Isle is an island.
Is that well? That's not
Belle
Metro Park. That's a state park, probably.
No, I thought that was a metro.
Maybe, I don't know. Oh no, I'm thinking. Never mind. I'm thinking of a different island. But yeah, you're probably right. What island am I thinking of? That one in the UP. Royal Isle. That's what I was thinking. That you.
Oh yeah.
No. Belle Isle is that's probably a metro park. But so the this dude like killed his wife, cut up her body, and tried to hide it in the metro parks or whatever, and then somebody found it. But yeah, that dude went away and got charged with all kinds of crazy, as many charges as they could get, because he did, he went like the extra mile, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I know they often get him on tampering with evidence too.
Probably.
That's what it was. Tampering with evidence, conspiracy to cover up evidence. They basically create charges at that level.
Right, yeah, exactly.
They're like, get out your notepad and let's have a think tank.
Yeah, let's have a think tank. What can we... So if this dude, if it was a Tuesday, and we can prove that...
Can we get him for disrupting Taco Tuesday?
Or
can we get him for that?
If it was Monday, can we be like Manic Monday charges? Yeah, that's kind of how it almost goes, where there's just like these, I don't want to say ridiculous, but they charge you with so many things, and I think the reason they do that is to make it harder for someone to get off of a potential murder charge
that's exactly why. Yeah. That's exactly why. If they have more charges, then it'll take more time for you to appeal, and your murder charges won't just stand as murder charges. There'll be all these other charges that you'll have to fight too. So the odds that you will ever get out are...
And it makes it harder to negotiate for the defense attorney, probably, I'm guessing? Probably,
yeah. I would assume so. But...
Because, then they can go, we'll drop these charges and drop it to a second degree instead of a first degree. So they can still get someone on murder, but instead of it being, we're charging someone with first degree murder when clearly it was, a heat of the moment thing. A lot of times I know district attorneys will do that. Like, it was clearly like two dudes got into an argument at a bar and shot each other to death. And they're like, first degree murder, they planned it out 10 years in advance. And then, the defense attorney will be like, come on, man. This is ridiculous. Okay, well, just charge him with second degree, which is what it already was.
I'm thinking, though, if there was a boat and there's blood on the boat, which I kind of remember.
Yeah, me too.
If I was a prosecutor, that would be a lot of evidence, especially if it's hers. That would be enough to convict. If it was a significant amount of blood. We're not just talking like a nosebleed.
Right.
We're talking like...
It would have to be like so many pints of blood for it to be, okay, this person's got to be dead for there to be that much blood.
Right. And why was the boat out there? Why was there blood on the boat? Clearly, this doesn't look like someone slipped and fell on her and hit her head.
Right, and I think that they hypothesized that he probably tried to move the body and dump it in the ocean. That's what I remember, which would make sense if he did do it.
Is he a big guy? I mean,
stature-wise?
Yeah. Is he larger? Is he big enough to carry a body from one location to another? Because, I mean, the physical attributes of someone is, if you have a 5'1" guy and a 6'2" woman.
Yeah. Congratulations to that guy, then.
Yeah, I mean, the odds of that happening.
Not so much. I remember.
How about just a big, heavy-set pregnant woman?
I don't remember how many months pregnant she was supposed to have been.
No, I mean like a woman that has been like chilling around the pantry, popping some Oreos and Doritos for like 6 months, waiting for the baby to pop out and gain like 85 pounds.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah, I
stuff
don't know.
like that happens. And how is a little 5'1" guy going to carry that out?
I don't.
You know what I mean?
Idea. Yeah, no, you'd have to have help. I guess you'd have to have. It's one of those situations where you. What is the saying? There's those you call when you need to move, and then there's those you call when you need to move a body.
Yeah, I'm just throwing out like how my brain thinks, trying to think of all the angles. Because if he's not big enough, and I'm purely playing the subjective role, is he big enough? Can he do it? Is there blood found? Is it possible that he did it? Because the motive might be there. We just don't know the motive.
Right, yeah.
A motive could be literally hidden from sight for the rest of history. And we'll never know. We'll never know. What was the motive for Jack the Ripper?
Well, yeah, but that's not my argument. I'm not saying there was no motive at all. I'm saying...
No, I'm just saying from what we see.
Oh, yeah, from what we see. From what we remember. Yeah, I don't remember there ever having been a motive that was...
brought to light.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. So I'm just saying, like, the motive is kind of, if you have a motive, like, say you have a life insurance policy, well, that's one thing. You can look back and say, well, he was going to gain, like, $500 million by killing the heiress to the, I don't know, Kmart fortune or something. I don't know.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
What's Kmart?
But I'm saying, like, the motive might be just hidden. Yeah. Maybe anything could have been a motive. She like took his bowling shoes and threw them out the back door and the dogs ate them. That could be motive enough for someone.
Ooh, that's pretty nasty.
Maybe she took a hot steamy poop on like his favorite shirt or something. We'll never know.
I mean, that bitch.
It was my favorite golf shirt.
I was going to go out with my boys on Saturday, and now I can't.
She's looking at him. You didn't bring home tacos on Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
And all I had was Oreos and Doritos to eat.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, motive might not always be there.
Yeah. Right. And then what about the idea of there having never been a cause of death or a weapon?
Yeah.
Because even if you find blood, I mean, if there's no body, you don't necessarily know where they bled out of. So that if you never find a weapon, that's going to be hard to prove.
Yeah, but if you got enough DNA evidence, I mean, it literally could be anything. If they can link that Someone died. Say someone dies in your house. Okay? They're in your residence or a piece of your property. Say they're in your car or in your house. And there is like blood everywhere. And
brain matter.
But your house is completely empty. There's nothing in here. No murder weapon. No anything like that. But there's a dead body. And or not even a dead body. Just a massive amount of blood. We'll take the body perspective out. There's just a massive amount of blood. And the cops come in and your spouse is missing, but there's a massive amount of blood. You don't think they're going to look at you like, clearly, she was murdered at your house. You know what I mean? Or your car. There doesn't necessarily have to be a weapon if there's enough evidence to prove, like, for first degree, I think you would have to have it. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, see, I don't remember what he got charged with or what he got convicted of.
Now that I think about it, I mean, I'm kind of with you though. I mean, don't you have to have a murder weapon? Like,
yeah, because even if you find blood, you don't know how they were murdered. I mean, you could have fell and hit your head, or you could have smashed someone's brains out.
Yeah, and you could have been at work when it happened, and they could have just taken that person out with your stuff.
Yeah,
or
again,
in your house, in your car.
Right now, this is all going off of memory, so we could be completely wrong about all of this.
Yeah,
which is, I think that's going to be the interesting part of this, finding out what we were.
I will say this though. I will say this: that a murder weapon is probably the easiest, at least in theory, to dispose of. Okay, theoretically, because if you killed someone with a knife, dude, especially if you had a boat and you're near the ocean. I mean, literally, you could just take that knife like 40 miles out into the ocean and just throw it somewhere. You really think someone's going to drag the ocean for 40 miles out or something?
No.
And then turn around and come back and be able to find one knife out there?
No, they probably wouldn't.
No. So, I mean, a murder weapon probably is the most easy to dispose of. Secondly, if they are in the ocean and this person is bleeding out like profusely, throwing them overboard into the ocean, they're not going to last long if they're bleeding profusely. Sharks are going to eat them.
Yeah, probably.
No
yeah,
body.
That's true. If it's like a fresh kill and there's lots of blood.
But if you weighed the person down too.
Yeah.
If you weighed the person down, well, then you're going to have chains and, you know, whatever else you use to weigh them down at the bottom of the ocean. They will find that.
Yeah.
So if you weigh them down, they'll probably find it.
That's still a coin toss, because you'd probably be thinking, well, if I throw them out, yeah, maybe the sharks will get them, but maybe they won't.
Yeah.
So I'll try and tie them down. But then, like you said, if you tie them down, now there's a potential of somebody finding that someday because it's tied down to something to the bottom of the ocean.
And it's something that's not going to go away.
Right.
It's chains. It's
so that even that is, well, if you're the person that's trying to cover this up, that's still a coin toss. What do you do? Or why would you pick which one you do? These are the things that I think about, John. What do I do in a situation like this? How come I'm the only one not laughing?
I'm a completely subjective thinker, and I like to think outside of the parameters of normality, but...
Me too.
I think we're showing people levels that they should not they should not be privy to right at this very moment.
Gosh, they're walking free. Still are.
Yeah. Haven't committed a major crime yet.
Allegedly.
Yet.
Well, yeah, I think most of us are there's potential for anybody to do something like that, or almost anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I don't know.
I agree.
But so, do you think we should wrap this section of it up and then move on to the other topic that we were going to...
Are we going to look into what actually happened?
If you have time, I have time.
I have time. I got nothing else going right now.
Me too. You want to take a quick break? Because I think this Zoom thing is going to end at some point, and then we'll have to start another meeting.
What, is there a timer on it?
Yeah, it's like 40 minutes per video or something.
Oh, well, then let's just stop and we'll stop, take breaks, and do 40-minute sessions then.
Yeah, we're at like a half hour. So that's a good time to stop anyways for an intermission, and then...
let people stew on our murderous thinking.
Dun, dun, dun. And then Matt's crazy voice effects here.
When we return.
Dude, I'm just using a guitar effect pedal to do that.
Are you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we're going to wrap up this half of this episode, and we'll be back, and you'll hear some intermediate music in the interim, and that's that. All right.
Cool.
Part 2 coming up.
We are back.
Okay. So, after we took our little break here, we went and did a little bit of research, and now we're going to make you aware of our findings. And I'm going to preface this with, I can't verify if most of this information is accurate, since we're doing this pretty much on the fly, and I don't, we can't really vet all this. We're just pretty much going off of what we can find on the internet for the sake of, we'll call this entertainment for this episode, because we can't really vet everything on the fly like this. But we found some interesting stuff. I think a lot of stuff we found I feel like my memory was pretty good on this. I couldn't remember the year. It happened a little bit, I was thinking about 2005. It happened in 2002, so it would have been in the media around 2003. And it happened Christmas Eve day, at least the disappearance. I don't know when it would have been in the media circuits right away. Probably right after Christmas. I don't know, man. New Year's, that's usually when media's slow anyways. Who knows when it first hit the news. I'll actually look that up while if you want to start reading some information we found, I'll look that up right now.
All right. So, what do you want me to read?
Go ahead with what. The link that you just. I feel like that's a little premature. Let's go with the basics of Scotty Peterson. So I guess start with the Wikipedia article, just for some basic information. Again, I don't necessarily trust Wikipedia, but that's obviously the quickest place to find stuff. And then
here's an interesting fact: is he says Peterson began playing golf at an early age, and a result of time he spent with his father. By the age of 14, he could beat his father at the game. For a time, he had dreams of becoming a professional golfer like Phil Mickelson, his teammate at the University of San Diego High School. So he actually played golf with Phil Mickelson.
Wow.
That was his schoolmate.
Oh, really?
His teammate, at the University of San Diego High School.
Oh. Wait, they called their high school a university too?
I guess.
That's weird.
University of San Diego High School. By the end of high school, He was one of the top junior golfers in San Diego. In 1990, Peterson enrolled at Arizona State University, where Mickelson had also enrolled on a partial golf scholarship. Mickelson would go on to become highly successful PGA golfer. And Lee Peterson,
even if you don't watch golf, you've probably heard the name, Mickelson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Lee Peterson later testified that the considerable competition that Mickelson presented to his son while they were at Arizona State discouraged Peterson. Let me see. So there's a little bit of notoriety. You know what I mean?
Okay. I personally don't remember having ever heard of him before it broke in the news. And actually, that's what I'm looking up right now.
Peterson got kicked off the golf team. It doesn't say why. I'm taking Chris on. Peterson transferred to Coosta College, later California Polytech State University. That name sucks, I gotta say. I'm sorry.
The name?
California Polytech State University.
So it's not a real state or a university.
He initially planned to major in international business, but changed his major to agricultural business. Professors who taught Peterson to describe him as a model student, who's agro business professor, blah, blah, blah. All right, so these are kind of his backgrounds. So he gained a bachelor's of science in agricultural business. Is there anything other? I think he met Laci. Is this where he met Laci?
I'm not sure.
Trying to look for it, but I don't see it. Okay, so hold on. While Peterson finished the cedar, no, because that's saying okay. So they had dated for 2 years. Peterson later called Laci. I'm sorry, and they began dating. Okay, so yeah, so. When Peterson and his future wife first met at a restaurant in the mid-1994, Laci made the first move. So she was the chaser. And then in 97, they really started getting... they married right in 97.
I'm sorry, what year did you say they started dating?
94.
94, okay.
But listen to this. While Peterson finished his senior year, Laci took a job in nearby Prunedale. Stated that at around this time, Peterson engaged in the first of at least 2 extramarital affairs, though they did not reveal a name or details of each relationship. Peterson graduated with a bachelor's of science and blah, 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 blah. In June of 98, after their graduations, the Petersons opened a sports bar called The Shack. According to Peterson's parents loaned him the money to open the establishment. They did not. It was a bad investment when the couple had difficulty finding a technician. Okay. 3. That seems really cheap for a bungalow in California, but
what year though?
2000. October 2000, they purchased a 3-bedroom, 2-bath bungalow house for $177,000.
Jeez, in California?
Covina Avenue in an upscale neighborhood near La Loma Park.
La Loma.
for only $177,000.
Jeez.
Doesn't that seem really cheap?
Yeah, even for 2000 or whatever year you said. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems pretty.
They're already saying that he was having extramarital affairs. He was cheating on her, pretty much, for a long time. He sold irrigation systems, fertilizer, chemicals, nutrients, and related products to big farms and flower growers, primarily in California, Arizona, and New Mexico. So it was pretty lucrative. He was earning a salary of $5,000 a month before taxes.
Yeah, that's probably pretty good back in 2002 or whatever.
Including
it's
her
like
mother and the other sister.
$60,000 a year, right?
$5,000 a month? Yeah.
It's not great, but it's not bad. I guess 2002, that's probably not bad.
5,000 a month is... Yeah. So 70 grand, somewhere in there.
But in Northern California. But like we said,
like
also the house
taxes.
they bring home, be about 50 something or 40 something, high 40s.
Okay, Peterson was introduced by a friend to a Fresno massage therapist named Amber Frey. In later public statements, Frey said Peterson told her he was single and the two began a romantic relationship. The last time Peterson's parents saw Laci was during a 3-day weekend they spent together in Carmel, California, the week before Christmas. So he's having like a bunch of affairs. He's pretty much playing the field, pretending like he's a single guy. This is I hate to say it, man, that's a pretty big motive though.
To kill your wife?
Yeah.
For you cheating on her?
Yeah, I mean that's a big motive.
Maybe. I feel like it's the other way around. Usually the one that's getting cheated on aren't they usually the killer?
The one getting cheated on? No, because a lot of times these like retards look at it. They're like, I want to get rid of my wife. How can I get rid of her so I can live this other fantasy life that I'm in?
Yeah, I guess.
You know what I mean? Without having, because if he gets divorced, well then where's the money? And
half the money's gone. Yeah,
half the money's gone.
Best case scenario, probably.
Yeah, and life is all about people wanting greed and money. So
yeah,
they just are greedy and they want money. You know. So okay, here comes the disappearance. December 23rd. 2002 at 5:45 p.m. Peterson and Laci went to a salon, the workplace of Laci's sister, to get a haircut, pick a fruit basket. Prosecutors say Peterson also told other people he would play golf on the day of Christmas Eve. Later that evening, Sharon, whatever her name is, her mom, spoke to Laci on the phone at 8:30 p.m. Peterson later told police that he last saw his wife at 9:30 a.m. December 24th when he left to go fishing at the Berkeley Marina. Was watching cooking television show and preparing to mop the floor, baking cookies, and walking the family dog nearby park. Later in the morning, a female neighbor of the Petersons say she found the Petersons' dog, a golden retriever named Mackenzie, and returned him to the Petersons' backyard between 10 and 10:17 a.m. About a half hour later. Shortly after 10:45 a.m., another neighbor named something wandered the neighborhood with a muddy leash and also returned him to the Peterson yard. Peterson said that he returned home that afternoon to find it empty. Laci's 96 Land Rover Discovery was in the driveway. He was showered and washed his clothes because he got wet from fishing. Okay.
That checks out.
Yeah. According to ABC News, Peterson reported his wife Laci missing from their Modesto home. However, the New York Post reported that when Laci still had not returned home by 5:15 p.m., Peterson called his mother-in-law. And that a half hour later, Laci's stepfather, Ron, called the police.
The same day, Christmas Eve?
That's what it looks like.
So they reported her missing on the same day that, I guess.
Laci was 7.5 months pregnant and was due on February 10th, 2003.
Okay.
The couple, so she's big. The couple had planned to name the boy Connor. The exact date determined. Reported missing on Christmas Eve. Alright. Let's get into the nitty. Oh gosh, there's so much.
Yeah, there is a lot. I found a site that had like 5 interesting facts about the Scott Peterson case. I'm not going to break them down, but number 1, Scott was an early suspect in the investigation due to his strange behavior.
Okay.
That's fact number 1. 2, Scott had a secret mistress and told her his wife was dead. So he told the mistress that his wife, Laci, was dead. The way it's worded, didn't make any sense to me. The dog became a key figure in the case.
The dog did?
Yeah,
really?
That's what it says. Then I'll send you the link here. Let me get this right here. I'll put this in here.
Interesting.
I kind of vaguely remember that too.
The dog being a major player.
Kinda. I remember it being a thing. I don't remember how important it was. I just do remember something about a dog. Number 4, Scott may have been facing a death sentence. Yeah, at least for now. I feel like that doesn't really pertain to the case before the fact that he was convicted.
Recordings revealed that
his family and some supporters still insist that he is innocent. Scott, you're innocent, right? Yeah, that's the bullet points for the 5 things that are interesting about the case. What else did I find? Personal life. I found his height and weight. I was pretty close on his height and weight. It says he was a fertilizer salesman. That's kind of a weird. I feel like that's underselling. Just fertilizer salesman's kind of. I think. Well, how did you word it? It said agricultural something or other. That sounds a little more accurate than fertilizer salesman. I mean, it almost makes him sound like he's selling fertilizer to people to make bombs or something.
Oh, what was he?
Said agricultural something.
Oh, business. He was an agricultural business major.
It says his net worth is okay. Scott, though Scott Peterson is a criminal, he has been able to acquire a net worth of $1 million as of October 2020. It is now October 18th because it's 1 a.m. right now. So as of this month, it says his net worth is $1 million. He was paid a hefty sum of money by who? Plus, he has also received several commissions.
Hey.
Yeah.
What was it you said? No murder weapon, no body?
I remember it being no body was found, no murder weapon, no cause of death.
They found the body.
Did they? Did it wash up somewhere?
On April 13th.
Hold on. Let me see if I remember. It washed up 100 miles from where they lived, north.
I don't know if it was that far. I mean, it doesn't say like a distance.
Oh,
I'll just read it. Okay. On April 13th, So when did we say she went missing? December 23rd?
December 24th is when they reported her missing.
Nearly 4, but the mom said she had talked to her that day, right? So she was at least alive on the 23rd or 24th.
23rd, I think it was, yeah.
So we'll say, even still, December 23rd, she was still alive because someone talked to her. On April 13th, 2003, a couple walking their dog found a decomposing but well-preserved body of a late-term male fetus in a marshy area of the San Francisco Bay shore.
So that's Richmond's the same area. Point. That is north, I believe. I think. I don't know. I'll have to look on a
map. North of Berkeley. Its umbilical cord was still attached, although a judge sealed autopsy records. An anonymous Associated Press source revealed that 1.5 loops of nylon tape were found around the fetus's neck, and a significant cut was on the fetus's body.
So someone ripped the baby out and strangled it.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like, and probably cut it in some way.
Or, well, the cut might have come by stabbing the mother, too. Or an attempt to stab the baby through. You know what I mean? Through the mother. Are you still there? Hello?
Yeah, I just had muted real quick.
Okay. 1 day later, a passerby found the torso of a recently pregnant woman wearing beige pants and maternity bra on the eastern shore of the bay, along a rocky shoreline of the same park, 1 mile away from where the baby's body was found.
So the baby was found first.
Yep, baby was found.
And what month was it that they were found?
April 13th.
2003?
Yep.
Okay. So I was wrong about the no body thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 2004?
No, 2003.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So 4 months later.
4 months. Oh, okay. 4 months later. Okay, got you. So the sharks didn't get her.
The corpse was decomposed to the point of being almost unrecognizable as a human body. And the head, arms, and most of the legs and all the internal organs except for the uterus were missing.
They left the uterus. Sharks are picky.
On April 18th, 2003, the results of DNA tests verified that the bodies of Laci Peterson and her son, or they were the bodies of Laci Peterson and her son Connor. The autopsy on both bodies was performed by a forensic pathologist. You know, interesting, because I remember we were talking about a boat. I want to see, did they find blood on a boat? Because I didn't even read that over. I just skipped it.
Yeah. Oh, when I was searching before, that was one of the things that popped up.
Fishing 90 miles from the couple's Modesto home, detectives immediately launched a search. Maintained their faith of innocence during the month following her disappearance. The police did not treat the case as suspicious for a few hours. Eventually, the police grew more suspicious of Peterson due to inconsistencies he was having in his story. Peterson had engaged in 2 other extramarital affairs prior to Amber Frey, blah blah blah. Does it even say anything about the boat other than he went out on the boat?
I'm looking at it right now.
Determined the fetus had been expelled from Laci's decaying body, though he could not determine whether it was alive or when it occurred. Knowing that he was in San Diego at the time, they feared he would escape across the border to Mexico. We've got to find Scott right now.
Oh, and here's some about hair on the boat. Hold on. That doesn't mean. No, I'm not going to that site. No, it's just giving me a security warning. I'm not going to proceed.
Peter's father explained that he used the brother's license. I don't see anything about a boat. Do you see anything about a boat?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but I'm trying to find a website that isn't suspicious of.
A single hair was the only piece of forensic evidence that was identified. The hair matched through DNA comparison to hair of Laci's hairbrush.
Yeah, but that's so
stuck to pliers found on the Peterson boat.
Okay, that's a little suspicious.
A hair stuck on pliers? Yeah. Extremely.
I was gonna say just
bad.
one hair doesn't mean anything. I mean, your wife's hair is going to be on your clothes, even if you wash them. Dude, I remember one time when I was a truck driver, I went and washed my clothes at the truck stop, and there was a couple that was washing their clothes in the machine before, like I was waiting for their load to be done so I could do mine. And I remember, like, that girl's hair was on my clothes because I remember finding a long hair and thinking, how the hell did this long hair end up on my clothes? I'm like, I haven't been around my wife for weeks or whatever at that point. And then I remembered, oh yeah, there was a girl who was doing her laundry before me, and her hair must have gotten on my clothes. So I don't feel like that's odd, just a hair, but with pliers, yeah, that's a little suspect.
Mm-hmm.
But
they also have a hydrologist, which I don't even know. Apparently, he studies
water
geological surveys of the water tides in the San Francisco Bay, and they brought him in, and he said that his findings were probable, not precise. Tidal systems are not sufficiently chaotic, or they are sufficiently chaotic, and he was unable to develop an exact model of the body's disposal and travel. As the trial progressed, the
so they're trying to figure out where the body was dropped off at.
Yeah,
that'd be hard to do.
Secretly recorded telephone calls. Fertility specialist was expected to be a crucial witness. Motive: the prosecution presented Peterson's affair with Frey, financial problems, and impending fatherhood as motives for murder, surmising that he killed Laci due to increasing debt and a desire to be single again. What did I say? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that actually happens, believe it or not. There was what was that family, that guy that annihilated his own family, his wife and his daughters and whatever else, their an unborn son, out in Kansas or something. I don't remember where it was, but he annihilated his own family, and this was the exact same motive. He was in debt, and he wanted to be single again because he was having lots of affairs, and he was a sociopath, so or a psychopath. It didn't bother him, totally had no qualms about it. Did not affect him whatsoever.
Okay, so do you want to bring up the one thing that you had found before we started recording about the classmate or whatever?
Well, so to summarize, there's a lot of evidence. One was the DNA hair on the stuck to pliers on the boat. Okay. How about this? During the trial, he purchased the fact that Peterson changed his appearance and purchased a vehicle using his mother's name in order to avoid recognition by the press. He added 2 porn television channels to his cable service only days after his wife's disappearance. That's a tad bit creepy. I guess you'd have to know what they mean by only days after, because 90 days could be days after. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are we talking like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 days? We're talking
72 hours?
Yeah. 72 hours.
Only hours?
Yeah. That's a little messed up. Prosecutors said he would not be returning home. Expressed interest in selling the house that he shared with Laci and traded in her Land Rover for a Dodge pickup truck. See, all of these things together are signs of...
like someone trying to move on?
Someone trying to move on. Not someone trying to find the wife.
Yeah, I do remember that in the news too. Like they said that his behavior was suspicious, and it didn't seem like he really was interested in trying to find her if she was only missing. I do remember that.
Yeah.
And once you started talking about the body being found, I do remember it having been something found north of where I think they may have possibly lived at.
Yeah, so all of those things. And remember, we talked about motive. It can be as simple as that. Just don't want to be married and want to off the spouse. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, and some people do that. Mm-hmm. But then you have DNA evidence, a single hair on a pair of pliers on a boat. And then if she was found in a desert, that wouldn't be anything. If she was found in the water, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's a really big thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, what did I find? The police are saying that there's no connection to this, but I found... I was just kind of flopping around reading different articles in Wikipedia, and there's actually another girl that went to the same university as Scott Peterson at, I guess, the exact same time that California Polytech State University. Goodness gracious, man. That is just a mouthful to say. But anyways, this other girl, what is her name? Kristen Smart?
Smart, I think.
Yeah. Disappeared.
No relation to Elizabeth Smart.
Yeah, and she disappeared in 96 from that university. She just up and vanished. So they did say, the police said that but it was the university police department that, I guess, questioned him.
From when the other girl had gone missing?
Yeah. And then during the, it says, during the Laci Peterson murder investigation, there were unfounded rumors that Laci's husband, Scott Peterson, had something to do with Smart's disappearance due to his simultaneous attendance at Cali Poly campus. He was interviewed, and basically he was ruled out as a suspect by the police. But why? Why was he ruled out? You know what I mean? It doesn't say why he was ruled out. Why was he ruled out? That's what I would like to know.
And they never found any other... They never had any suspects for the...
They said they did find some bones, but they couldn't truly identify if they were bones of an animal or a human in that case. So I'm just curious, like, okay, Laci disappears and he's like pretending like basically he didn't have, you know, that she just is gone. You know what I mean? And way back in, what did I say? When did she go?
96, I think you said.
Yeah. So 96, she just disappears. This other girl goes to the same college as the same guy that made his wife disappear years later. I don't really believe in coincidence at all. It does seem like a big coincidence, though. If that's legit. Like, if that's true and that is a coincidence, this girl disappears and this guy is making girls disappear. But I will say, this girl is 6'1".
Who?
Kristen Smart.
That's pretty tall for a...
Yeah, she was born in Germany. Yeah, it says she was born in Augsburg, Germany. So I'm guessing she was pretty tall, probably pretty strong herself, but still, she's taller than this guy, than Scott Peterson. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say.
It is kind of hard to say. But I don't know. All right, I'm going to click back to the video so I can actually see you.
And then when did you say that the police ruled Scott Peterson out as the suspect for the Smart?
Did they? Oh, for Smart?
Yeah. When was he ruled? When did they question him and rule it out?
Let me see. He was ruled out. It doesn't say when he was ruled out. It was just during the investigation. But it does say in 2016, officials from San Luis Obispo County. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that. Cadaver dogs from the FBI were brought in, and investigators were preparing to spend approximately 4 days excavating an area on Cal Poly campus. After 3 days, items were found at all 3 dig sites located on the same hillside Smart's dorm. A spokesman of the sheriff's office said the items are being analyzed to see whether they were connected to the case, which could take days, weeks, or months. The items uncovered are still being investigated as of 2020.
Oh.
Interesting.
So much for that first 36 hours.
Right. Right.
Or 48, I mean, first 48. I don't know why I said 36.
Yeah.
48 hours. Yeah, that's, interesting.
I think it's very interesting. You know. Who is this? Who is this person? Smart is declared May 25th, 2002. The 6th anniversary of her disappearance. Her parents, Dennis and Stan Smart, took a civil case of wrongful death against Flores. Which Flores? Who the heck are they talking about? Okay, let's look this up. Let's go in depth. Let's chase this rabbit.
Get that rabbit.
Oh, there has to be. Smart unannounced vacation. No.
So they still didn't ever determine the cause of death, did they?
No.
And
where is this? The name's got to be here somewhere. I'm just not seeing it.
Let's see if I can look up Laci Peterson cause of death. Let's see if that comes up with anything. Because if they found a body, they might have been able to find a cause of death.
Where is this? Paul. Okay, discovered. Smart's disappearance remains an unsolved case, although compelling evidence was discovered that points to Paul Flores knowing what happened to her. Although her body was never discovered, Smart's... There we go. Okay, so Paul Flores. Let's copy and paste that. Who is this guy? Paul Flores, Kristen Smart. Let's just try Paul Flores. Huh. Okay, so apparently they think this Paul guy knew what happened to her. And so much that they filed Smart's bloody earring was found by a tenant at the former residence of Paul Flores' mother. This earring has since been lost by the police. Lost? Well, that's convenient.
Oops.
Oops. We have really, really important evidence, but sorry. Between 1996 and 2007, various searches for remains and other evidence were conducted. Same used dog trained to detect scent of humans. No useful leads were found in 2 decades. Interesting. So, I don't know what to say. They did file a civil case. One of 3 students who walked Smart to her dorm. In 2005, Flores has denied involvement in her disappearance. The Flores family has also filed a lawsuit against the Smart's family for emotional distress. Interesting. Wow. Beginning September 30th, 2019, Chris Lambert released a series of 7 podcast episodes. The podcast recounts in detail the publicly available information about Kristen's abduction and subsequent death at the hands of another student on the campus of California Polytech State University over 23 years ago. The podcast was downloaded over 2 million times. In its 4 months, renewed public interest led to a new billboard being put up by Arroyo Grande in January 2020 to replace the original, which had been up since 1997. So this case of Kristen Smart, or that's her name, right?
Something.
Yeah,
Amy
Kristen Smart. No,
Amy?
Kristen Smart. But this thing actually blew up really big.
I don't remember ever hearing anything about it.
I don't either.
So,
I wouldn't have even found it had I not looked for that little like the little article within the article about Peterson. I would not have even looked this up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If I hadn't clicked on a hyperlink and then done some backscaling, I would have never found it.
So check this out about Laci Peterson. Laci Peterson's head and parts of her limbs were missing, and plastic tape was wrapped around the neck of her child, according to full autopsy and coroner's photographs exclusively seen by ABC News. According to the autopsy, the skin of the child was not decomposed at all, although the right side of his body was mutilated. And the placenta and umbilical cord were not found with the body. They mean the body of him, I'm assuming. The autopsy said that the cause of Laci Peterson's death was undetermined, so I was right about that.
Okay.
And there was no evidence of man-made wounds, despite the fact that her head and parts of her limbs were missing. Peterson's body
How did they go missing?
was so decomposed. I don't know. Yeah, it says that her body was so decomposed, it barely looked like a body after it was found by San Francisco Bay. This is from 2004. Wait, what was this article? 2003 is what I'm reading. So this is last month, but obviously that's not from this year. I lost my spot. Where was I? Okay, however, the autopsy report showed her cervix was intact. Experts are divided whether the new revelation about the condition of Laci Peterson's body and of the child will help prosecutors or attorneys representing Laci's husband, Scott, who has been charged in the case. So, yeah, this is a pretty old article, but... So, yeah, they never determined a cause of death according to this, but this article, like I said, is from May of 2003, so this would have been very shortly after the body was discovered, and I don't know if I didn't really see anything else that caught my eye stating that there was a cause of death found.
I found an interesting article from The Globe, May 13th, 2003. Mm-hmm. And they have Kristen Smart here, the one we just talked about, that went to the same college. They have this lady named Evelyn Hernandez and her son Alex. Like Laci, pregnant. Evelyn's body was discovered in San Francisco Bay long after she vanished. Evelyn, 24, and her 5-year-old son Alex, who disappeared May 1st, 2002, was discovered last July 14th. But there's nothing related to them. Like the Kristen Smart, she went to the same university. Was taking summer photography classes at University of California, Berkeley. She vanished June 23rd, 1997. She was last washed close to where Laci and Connor washed up. So there's a third girl, Kristen Modafferi, who was 18, and she washed up right where. But that could be coincident. That could just be tides moving. I don't want to play the negative, but I mean, if there's nothing related to them, Laci's parents are the rest of the haunted Wisconsin travel secret reveals a source close to the investigation. He might have killed before and managed to keep his awful past hidden from them. That I do believe. If he actually did this, the chances are he had probably done it before.
Yeah.
Or at least had thought about doing it before.
Right.
Laci could have been living with the killer all this time. As far as she knew, Scott was a fertilizer salesman. She was going to spend the rest of her life. Blah, 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 blah. Conjecture. Opinion. Yeah. No evidence. People who abuse animals. There have been studies showing that serial killers abused hapless animals in their youth. People who abuse animals are not to be trusted and won't have a second thought about killing a pregnant woman. Okay, and how does this relate? Cold loner side showed themselves as we were in high school. Accused. So now they're asking people that went to high school with them.
Asking them what
like
his
what kind of person he was. One says he was the biggest snob. He was always talking about how good his game was and how much better he was than others, and always wanted him to play on our team and wanted him to be around. He was a loner. He was the kind of guy you would walk by and never even notice.
Okay, that doesn't make sense. Those kind of people that are loners don't usually have that cocky attitude.
Yeah, typically. those. I was going to say the same thing. Those are really conflicting statements.
Very, very, very like total polar opposites.
Yeah. Scott,
I've never met a loner, cocky person ever in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an article full of conjecture. There's nothing here relating any of these other people with him. It's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying there's nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I don't know, dude. Heron, a pair of players on a boat, though, that she likely had never been on.
Yeah, I did see that. It seemed like he may have purchased this boat possibly without the knowledge of her. However, did you see the picture of the boat?
Mm-mm.
Dude, it looks like something you'd go fishing in a lake, not something you take out into the ocean. Unless whatever the pictures I was looking at were just not the actual boat. But the ones that I saw, it looked like something you would take on a lake fishing. Not you would not go in the ocean.
Yeah, it looks like a skiff, dude.
I mean, think about the show Dexter. Okay, that he had a legit boat that you would take into the ocean, and even people that take those kind of boats in the ocean, remember that dude that played for the Lions? Him and I forgot who else. It was like 3 football players, and one of them was played for the Lions, and they had a boat they took out in Florida, and it went missing. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was a legit ocean boat. This little dinky fishing boat you take on like a pond, even if you bought it to dispose of for a body, I mean, come on. Do you honestly think that you would take that out into the ocean, drop a body? You'd have to take it out quite a ways.
Did he take it out far?
I'm putting myself in his shoes, the killer's shoes, whatever. The stories, the alleged story. If I'm taking a body out into the ocean and I have that boat or whatever boat, I'm going to go out miles so that you can't be seen by anybody by accident. And that little boat, I feel like wouldn't.
It's not going to make it miles.
No. And now without you possibly getting flipped over in by a wave or something. It's literally like a little fishing boat. Dude, my neighbor right out there, I'll take a picture of his boat. That's what Scotty Peterson disposed of the body in.
I gotta send you this. I found an article I was just watching on my side.
Mm-hmm.
It is a YouTube video that the defense did as a reenactment of him trying to dump the body out of the boat. And the boat actually tips over on him. I think they kind of forced it, but it does look like what I pictured in my brain. That if you tried to do this, your boat would tip over.
Yeah, I mean that.
Oh crap! Hey, hold on. I gotta get my phone to send it to you.
Okay.
I wonder if I can send it on this. Shit. Oh wait! I got the link. Okay, copy the link. Okay, no, I'll drop the link right here. There you go. Click that and watch that.
The one
I just sent it in the chat. Elise, what are you doing up? What? Honey, it's 2:00 in the morning. You need to go to bed right now before you get in trouble. Okay.
Story of my life. It's 2:00 in the morning. Why aren't you? At least
Watch
with
that.
you,
I'm gonna go and talk to Elise. Okay.
At least with you, it's why are you up at 2 in the morning? With Autumn, it's why are you still awake at 2 in the morning?
Well, yeah, she's been still awake.
I'll be right back.
Okay, yep. I'll just pop this video on. If it'll ever play. I can't believe I forget they had Zoom. Okay, yeah, so what we're watching is supposedly a video of, why is it? Yeah, look at this little boat. For those of you listening, I mean, it's literally got two seats and a one little engine. It's literally the kind of boat that you would take on a lake or a river fishing. You wouldn't go out into the ocean. I mean, you would literally have to go. I mean, I feel like if you're going to dump a body in the ocean, you need to go miles out. I mean, that just only makes sense. And I don't think that this boat would make it. I mean, the boat's maybe 12 feet long. And they're not even in the video. They're not far from shore. Like, you can see the shore or land. I don't know. Yeah, man, this boat's sinking. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's okay, so I was starting to think that maybe Scott Peterson might have possibly done it. It's possible, but I mean, this boat, that's nothing. That I would never take that. I'm not a fisherman. I don't go out on boats ever. Not because I don't want to. I just have never done it. And with my lack of experience of boats, I see that and I know that there's no way I would take that into the ocean. None. And it's not like I'm some kind of boat expert, but that is literally like a lake. Like, dude, my neighbor that lives right behind me, he's got like 3 boats that are at least this size that he has in his driveway, you know, during the summer. He stores them in the winter. And there's no way you would take this on the ocean. I just don't think. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Cancel. So supposedly the operation. Okay, this is for John and I. We're going to talk about this later. Supposedly, the body was put into this tiny little fishing boat. That's what that would be what the prosecution would have tried to claim, that Laci Peterson's body, mind you, a 7-month pregnant woman, or 7 months pregnant, whatever, I don't know. She was pregnant at the 7-month mark, whatever, I don't know. What it sounds like what the prosecution was alleging is that Scotty Peterson had taken this 7-month pregnant woman after she was dead, put her in the boat, and then took this dinky little boat that, like I said, you would take only on maybe a river or a lake, or a pond. Like, I can't imagine taking that in the ocean. That's stupid. And supposedly the claim is that she had dumped her body successfully in the ocean and came back to shore. Oh, by the way, they also say that he paid for this boat with $1,400 bills. Okay, big deal. People pay for cash for stuff used all the time. I mean, I think this would have been before Craigslist, maybe, but I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've, taken cash and, bought something off of Facebook. Well, we just bought a dehumidifier the other day, met up with someone at the grocery store parking lot and I gave him two $20 bills cash. That's not really uncommon. I mean, I don't really understand how that means anything, but I just can't imagine taking that boat onto the ocean and then after having killed somebody. And I'll discuss this with John. He's just now getting back. Okay, so I was kind of narrating. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was kind of just narrating what was on the video, because obviously for people who are listening, they can't really see. It was basically a boat like I described, not very big, maybe 12 feet long, maybe. And they had it in, it wasn't far from the shore, because you could see a shore, off in the distance behind it. And the, waves had started to like go over the edge of the boat and made it kind of slowly sink. And then eventually at some point a wave makes it fully turn over. Now, something I didn't read this article, but when I was scrolling through other articles earlier or searching, one of the claims is, seems silly, but that Scott Peterson had paid $1,100 bills for that boat. I mean, that doesn't mean anything to me. Have you ever bought anything off of Craigslist or Facebook, Marketplace before, John?
Mm-hmm.
And do you pay cash when you do that, or do you use a credit card?
You pay cash.
Yeah, exactly. That's not strange at all.
Mm-mm.
But so here's my thinking. He buys this boat, right? So he doesn't already have a boat, right? So he's probably never taken this boat out of the ocean before, right? And he makes it into the ocean and back. No incidences in this little tiny dinky boat at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that doesn't really add up to me either. You know what I mean? It's not like a boat he's had experience with, and I've had this boat for 20 years, and we take it out on the ocean all the time. It's totally safe. Mm-hmm. The allegation is that he bought this boat probably to dispose of the body, or with the plans to dispose of the body. So that would mean he had no experience with this boat in the ocean, and he made it out there, disposed of a body, and made it back with no problem at all. I find that very unlikely. Not impossible, but it seems like a string of good luck, almost.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that doesn't mean he didn't kill his wife. Maybe he did, but I don't know if I buy the boat story at all.
Doesn't
based
mean
on
use that boat,
right? Yeah, that's what I was kind of going. It could have been somebody else's boat or a friend's boat, or who knows. Yeah, I don't think he used that boat to do it.
No, I don't see
if he did it.
It's possible, I think it's plausible.
Yeah, it's plausible.
And I don't think how they enacted it in the video is completely legit. I think just like the O.J. Simpson glove. Remember, if the glove doesn't fit, you must quit.
You must quit. Yeah.
And remember, they didn't give him his meds for like 3 or 4 days, so his hands swelled up really bad, and he could barely get the glove on.
Yeah, I remember
his arthritis.
Yeah, I remember.
And they're like, "Look, the glove doesn't even fit him. His hands are too big for that glove." Well, yeah, he's freaking got arthritis, and he hasn't taken his meds. But I think in that video, when I was watching it, I think they were going a little overboard to show it capsizing. Mm-hmm. Like a little too overboard. And it does say
that's also really close to the shore, though. I mean, if you're going to... Again, I mean, we don't know... They couldn't determine where the body was dropped off at. So we don't know how far out the body was dropped off at.
Right.
But like I said, anybody with any sense, if you're going to dispose of a body in the ocean, you would want to go out miles so you're not seen.
But that's a logical, rational person. True. Someone that murders someone isn't quite in a rational mind. Not only that, but I do want to point out the date
of
the year when he was going out.
2002?
December.
Yeah, but Modesto was probably not that cold, right?
I had some cold days out there, dude. Especially on the water. Yeah. Some really cold days. Where I dropped down in like 30s and 40s, man.
It also said that he was going to go play golf the next day too.
Yeah,
So
and that's believable. That's believable. Okay. But I'm saying, like,
water.
The valley,
on the water is going to be different.
And in the valley, like, the moisture and everything gets trapped in there, and it makes it really cold. But out in the water, it does get pretty darn cold. You know. So that would make do for the preserving of the bodies and everything. You know, or at least the baby's body. I don't know. The other one, the
see, Laci, that's another thing that doesn't make any sense to me. So it's like her body was like decomposed to the point where it was almost unrecognizable as a human body. Like, they couldn't tell, is this human? Is it an animal that washed up? But the baby's had almost no decomposition at all. That's really strange.
Yeah.
But it also said that there was tape found around the baby's neck. So somebody obviously had done something to the baby. So why didn't the baby decompose? And the mother did.
Maybe it was in the mom. I don't know. But they said it was. I said maybe it was in the mom.
But then how did the tape get around the baby's neck?
True. And they said the baby had been pulled out. So.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some weird stuff going on with some of that doesn't make any sense based on the information we have.
Yeah, it does seem a little odd. I'd like to go back and watch the. I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to go back and watch the interviewing footage
of Scotty Peterson.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting.
I'd watch it too. The only problem is having almost no experience watching a bunch of interviews of people who are being questioned for a crime. It'd be hard for me to determine anything. Whether you're guilty or not, you're probably going to have odd behavior being questioned by the police. You're going to be probably nervous no matter what.
All right, so where is that? What is that guy's name?
Jack.
Yeah, Jack.
Jack Shite.
You know what? It might be that goes on Netflix. Let me see.
I'm gonna have to look up that Dean Cain movie now. Superman kills Laci.
I knew he was trouble. Right? Let me look this up. All I need is a name. That's all I need. No. That's not what I want. I think it was in... murder cases. And what would that have been? 2018.
Oh, 18?
I think it was 18. Oh, it's not going to pull up anything. Really? Any other time, and it would just like pull it up, and you'd be like, "There it is! It's right there." You know what I mean? No, not the Anthony chick. Oh, jeez, oh, Pete.
by the way, if any, for people listening to this, the Campfire Conversationalist Podcast is now on Amazon Prime Podcasts.
There we go. Okay, I found it. All right, I'm going to send you something on your phone. If I can find it now on YouTube.
No worries.
This is something...
Blah, 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 blah. My beard looks gnarly today. Need to get her trimmed up a little bit.
Okay, I'm going to send you this. This is the body-worn camera of a police officer interrogating a guy who his wife went missing. And I want you to watch and just try to pick out what you can. Okay?
Okay.
Because I did not know anything about this. And I watched this body-worn camera. And the whole time I was watching it, I was going, because I didn't know what I was getting into. I was just watching it. And I'm watching it, and I'm going, this guy is like behaving really, really badly. And I was like, he's behaving like he's done something. And I want you to just watch the body language. Okay? Just watch the guy, watch the body language, and then on the next episode, you can tell me what you got out of it when you watched it. All right?
Okay.
Fair enough?
Yeah.
But I think in light of 3 o'clock in the morning, I think it's a good time to go to bed.
Oh, that's right. Now you're an hour ahead of me. I forgot.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to wrap this up. You want to wrap it up? Go ahead.
Yeah. Cool. So I know this one's a little bit different of an episode. There's like a lot of pauses and whatnots in betweens. So I'll make sure I put some dope music that I produced myself. So in between all the blank spots, you can listen to dope music that I made. How about that? Because I'm not really great at video editing. I can edit music like nothing, but video, I don't have time to learn how to do all that fancy jiznaz. So yeah, this one's a little bit different. I thought it'd be fun to try something to see how our memories were or work. Mm-hmm. Some stuff I got right. I nailed a few things. Other things I didn't. I was way off on. Well, no, they didn't. They never determined. They never had a weapon because they never had a cause of death. Mm-hmm. They also never had a time of death. They did find the body. I was wrong about that. But everything else that you need to convict somebody, they didn't have. So, man, it's definitely. He definitely is probably suspect based on his behavior and stuff. But I feel like there's a lot of stuff that was thrown into there to this so-called evidence that just doesn't add up. Like the boat is a huge red flag for me. Maybe most people who don't ever go near the water just don't have an idea that you probably wouldn't take that kind of a boat onto an ocean, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like you said, maybe there was another boat that was actually used, and that one was a distraction. That would be a clever move to have already had, if you were planning this out ahead of time, to have a legit boat that goes in the ocean to actually disappear the body, and then have this other boat that is clearly not something you would take into the ocean be the one that it looks like you use to hope, in the event that you get caught, maybe that would be the thing to get you off. If that was the case, then he might have planted that hair on the pliers as well to make it further seem suspicious. Maybe not. That seems a little far-fetched. But I'm still kind of not sure whether Scotty Peterson did it or not. There's a lot of evidence that's definitely odd but I don't feel like there's a nail in the coffin, and that's what I remember. For me, there's not a nail in the coffin. Also, did we ever get to the bottom of why this was really in the news the way it was? I mean,
no, I think it was just because
of the baby aspect.
Well, the baby and maybe the brutality of like finding the body. You know what I mean? And then the affairs.
Well, when it happened, it was already in the news, and they hadn't found the body yet.
I don't know them.
Yeah, that to me is another weird thing about this case. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I guess that's this episode. It's a little bit different.
This one that I sent you, I watched that video. I want to say a month after everything went down. 1 month almost after. I want you to keep that in perspective. So when I seen the video, he hadn't been charged. Fresh. Yeah, he hadn't been charged yet. It was just something that went up that I just happened to come across, and I was like, that is really odd. It wasn't in the news. He wasn't convicted yet or charged. But just watch it and just give me your intake, like first perspective, you know.
Okay, will do.
It's extremely interesting.
And for upcoming episodes, one thing that we're planning on doing, I know John and I were planning on talking about some World War II stuff that neither one of us had ever heard of before.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about that in another episode, and then another episode besides that of World War II stuff. Something that I had kind of come up with actually a couple years ago now, almost 2 years ago, before we even started the podcast. I have this friend, Jason. I think he's out of town. I haven't texted him in a couple of weeks. He, at some point in his life, was in jail for really stupid stuff. I think it was like a child support type thing, you know, something really, really lame. Nothing crazy like murder or rape or anything. Just, you know, some stupid little, like, whatever child support type thing. And him and I were talking about it one day, and we were talking about, he had brought up the fact that stamps are currency in prison, and that blew my mind because I'd never heard that before. So we're going to talk about different types of currency in prison. That'll be another episode. And then John's sister is married to a dude that does correctional work in prisons. Is that correct?
Yeah.
He's a correctional officer. Excuse me. So we were thinking about maybe having him on the show to talk about some just crazy whack stuff that he's witnessed over the years, if he can, or you know, anything, you know, maybe he can go into some more details. I want to try and get my friend Jason on, but I think he's out of state working one of those 7 days a week, 12-hour day type of things currently. So when he's done with that, I'll try and get him on the show for that. And then maybe we can talk to John's brother-in-law and see what he has to say about different types of currencies, as well as just anything having to do with the correctional system at all that would be interesting to talk about. So we haven't even really gone too much further other than just discussing it, but those are some upcoming episode ideas for the Campfire Conversationalist Podcast.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
And with that, he's John, I'm Dread Matt, and we're out.